Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of probably next week on Smackdown. I'm Bryon, and once again joined by a guy who is aware of AJ Lee's existence, Mike. Say hello, Mike.
This feels like an Attitude Era feud almost. Like
Really?
when have they last involved someone else's like real life wife in a feud? You know,
I think the last time was between Rusev and Bobby Lashley, but yeah. No, it's been a while since that has happened, so I guess you're pogging right now. You must be pogging. That they're
I am not pogged because I don't know why they brought Becky Lynch into this unless they're trying to add a female member to the faction, but
yeah,
sure.
I was expecting like a fourth man, right? Like someone from NXT or something, but apparently it was Becky Lynch. So I think it's because they're building up to WrestlePalooza, and because it's the first WrestlePalooza under ESPN, they have to be like, "Yo, what's a big star we can bring back?" Oh yeah, AJ Lee. Let's bring her back. Why not? Top that with a Chris Jericho return, probably, or
I
someone
would
like.
actually pop for Chris Jericho return
Oh, a lot of people would, for sure. But
until he starts trying to sling more Fozzy CDs, and then people will get tired of him.
I mean, if Chris Jericho does come back, there will be more live music performances, I guess, or something like that. But I heard Fozzy sucks though. They kind of suck now, but whatever.
Yeah, they're mid.
Yeah. All right. Well, SmackDown. After Clash in Paris, we are gonna book it on this show, and we are gonna book them under these rules. And you should probably know them by now because we've done it for some time. But in case you are living under a rock, this is our rules, or these are our rules, I should say. And we will then tell you our bookings and predictions for the next episode of SmackDown right after, a couple more things. And after we tell you our predictions and bookings on the show, we are going to watch the next episode of SmackDown. And we are going to score our predictions and bookings based on this system. Enjoy that thing. I don't know what else to say. But that is a scoring system. And we are going to tell you our scores on the next episode of this here show. So, let's talk about the points from last time. 11-point gap between myself and Mike. I have 3.5 points. I did not have a great week. I got some parts of Cena promo correctly. I got Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss winning, and Kiana James losing to Michin. Other than that, it was a wash for me. And surprisingly, Mike, you got 6 points. That's interesting. Where'd you get those points from?
I had the same shit as you, I think. I had Michin losing in a squash. Or sorry, Michin winning in essentially a squash.
Yeah.
And I also had the wait.
Uh huh.
Hold on. My notes are loading, bro.
Oh no.
I had Sammy. I had Sammy winning the title.
Oh, you did, yeah.
But I had him winning
I
by
also had
equal.
that, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, there you go, I guess. I don't know. But hopefully I don't know. I feel like my booking for next episode is yeah, it's all right. I don't know, we'll see. But let's take a look. But first, here's what's announced so far. I think it's just a John Cena promo. I don't really see any other things. And CM Punk probably gonna be there too. But I think that's what is announced so far. So, without further ado, let's book this thing and get to my version of the show as John Cena walks to the ring and talks about his match with Logan Paul at Clash in Paris. Says that the match against Logan Paul was so great and his fans love him so much that they chanted his name like what, 50 times, 100 times? I don't know. It was a lot of chanting from the Paris crowd during his match.
They are very vocal people.
Very, very vocal. They give me a sort of, that it's kind of like these like sporting events now where you go to a sporting event just to be like, hey, I'm at a sporting event instead of like actually watching the game. I don't know if you get that vibe, but that sort of gives it that vibe. Like in the good old days, when you go to a baseball game or like a basketball game, you just watch the game. Now it's just like 10% I care about the game and 90%, hey, let's just chant some random shit and participate in whatever nonsense the arena has as well.
I would say that's common in Europe because they're very, like, I don't know if you've ever watched any sort of European soccer or even like the World Cup, but they chant a lot. Like there's always that meme of like, four guys in a football match coming up with the most creative chant to call the opposing team a variety of racial slurs.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's your average European soccer fan.
Yeah.
So the fact that they chant the entire match, the entire show, is not surprising to me because they do that probably on a weekly basis. I feel that your sentiment is correct when it comes to American sports. And I feel this especially as someone who is a sports fan, that a lot of the, especially in the more affluent cities like the one that we live in, that a lot of the experience of going to a game has been lost because of the fact that everyone who goes to a game now is just some rich idiot who wants to go there for the vibes and doesn't give a fuck about the team.
Yeah.
So, same thing now with WWE. Like back in the day, even with WCW, right? Like people would go and they'd fucking go nuts whenever something happened, right? When The Rock came out, people would flip their shit, right? When Steve Austin came out, people would flip their shit. Now it's like, oh, that's cool, yeah, but you're really just there because you like the vibes and you have a lot of money. Like Trinidad guy or a green shirt guy. Like man has a front row seat at every show for what reason other than to be a meme?
I mean, it's kind of easy to be a meme these days, so might as well just ride with it.
Yes.
But yeah. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so he talks about the match with Logan Paul, Clash in Paris, and he says that Paul took him to his limits. However, he won in the end, and he wonders if Brock Lesnar is going to challenge him at the next PLE, which is WrestlePalooza, or some other kind of pay-per-view, or PLE, I should say. However, instead of Nick Aldis coming out, it's CM Punk. He comes out, and he then asks Cena to, he apologized to the people, and that's fine. But he wants Cena to apologize to him because of the words that John Cena said a couple months ago when he had his rivalry with CM Punk to culminate in a match at Saudi Arabia. Yes, I still want to remind people that CM Punk went to Saudi Arabia. Anyway, he does. He apologizes. Cena does. And Punk then continues by asking Cena for some advice. He says he's got a bit of a problem. He's got Seth Rollins on his tail. And he wants, some advice because recently Becky Lynch, kind of gave CM Punk a slap. And he wants some advice. He wants to know who sort of can take Becky and Seth on along with him. And he then Cena does recommend to bring out someone who can sort of help him out, who is most certainly a woman. Maybe start listing off some names like a Lyra or a Natalia. You know, a list of women here and there, or maybe even AJ Lee. And that's when you get the the fans start to chant AJ Lee. But you know, any of these women, and hey, maybe I can even help you out. But you know what? Just think it over, and think over who you wanna go with you to fight against Becky and Seth, fight against their takeover of Raw. And then we have Nick Aldis come out and announces that, hey, it's great seeing you here, Punk, but better wrap it up and get the hell out because you're part of Raw. Anyway, your match with Brock Lesnar Cena will take place at WrestlePalooza. And just like last week on this here show, I said that Brock Lesnar has a bit of a message for Cena, which will be relayed by Nick Aldis. And that message is he wants him at 100%. And he wants, Cena at his best so that he can smash his ass. And Punk, in response to the announcement, he just says, good luck to Cena. And he walks to the back. And that's the end of that segment. And we're going to move on from that to Julia versus Michin for the Women's US Championship. And I'm going to have Julia win by pinfall because she is the champion. Simple as that. Who is next? BFAB. I don't know. Moving on to Street Profits versus Fraxium. And I'm going to have Fraxium win because I'm going to start planting some seeds for the Street Profits breakup. Don't know if you saw this, but there were some signs in the Wyatt Six versus Street Profits match where you start noticing some friction between the Street Profits. And that's where we are going to start planting some seeds. We're going to have some kind of miscommunication happen near the end of the match. And then after the match, when Fraxium wins, we're going to have Angelo Dawkins kind of argue with Montez. And it's going to result in Angelo walking away from Montez. And BFAB is sort of trying to calm down both sides, but just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it will eventually lead to breakup. And who knows how Street Profits are going to do in terms of a singles career. I think Montez Ford will likely have a better career than Angelo Dawkins because he's more of a cruiserweight kind of guy. You can probably put him in the luchador stuff. Or maybe even some of the mid-card stuff. Whereas Angelo, I don't know. He doesn't have as much of a charisma as Montez Ford. So it's going to be more difficult, in my opinion, to get him over as a singles performer. But unfortunately, we're going to have to break up a tag team. I think that's what they're going to do. And I think that's what's going to happen. Moving on to Sami Zayn having a promo. He talks about winning the US Championship last week. Says winning it is just the beginning and that he has a target on his back, so he has to watch his back at all times. However, we're not going to have a new opponent. We're going to have Solo and the MFTs come out. And Solo says the win was a fluke. They'll win back the US Championship easily. And we're going to beat the hell out of Sami because I'm angry. I want that title back. And we're going to have a brawl. And Jacob Fatu comes in as an equalizer. Eventually. And then Nick Aldis comes out. He says, alright, you know what? I've had it between you four. You want to settle this in the ring? Let's make a tag match between you, Jacob Fatu, and two of the MFTs. Will then lead to the next match. And we're going to have Sami Zayn and Jacob Fatu win by pinfall because he is the champion, I guess. And Jacob Fatu, I guess you want to protect Jacob Fatu as well. So, yeah. I think this will eventually lead to a rematch wherein I think they're going to introduce a new member to the MFTs and keep building it up. Yes, I know it is tiring as hell, but I think they're going to introduce another member. And Sammy is probably going to lose that title after that. But I think I'm going to have Sammy get a couple wins with Jacob on his side just to get that trust between them. And eventually their trust is probably going to fall down because of the new members of the MFTs or something like that.
Is it gonna be like David Atonga Samoa? Or Bingo Bongo?
Oingo Boingo.
Jeez, man. Where are they finding these dudes, dude? Like, you gotta think a quarter of the population of American Samoa is employed by the WWE at this point.
Triple H has a direct line to the American Samoa embassy. Hey, I need more talents. Hey, I need more talents.
I think it's a bit detrimental because isn't America's Samoa like one of the most obese places on Earth? Just because they have to rely on spam because of how isolated they are from the rest of the world. So why are you taking all of their most athletically gifted people? Like, shouldn't they be back home, like, helping the nation? What the fuck? This is very problematic when you start to look at it from the face level.
Why don't you go ask The Rock that question? I'm sure this is probably The Rock's idea.
So I thought that picture of him was like AI at first, and then I realized that it wasn't.
Oh, are you talking about the...
Damn, what the fuck happened to my boy? Someone, like, he, like, went into, like, the Space Jam, like, skill zapper. Like, the aliens took his stuff. Like, what the fuck?
I guess either he stopped taking steroids, which I know he's gonna deny every single time, but I'm pretty sure that's steroids. Some of it is steroids right there. Or, yes. Or I think this just means that he doesn't want to go back to the ring, and that WrestleMania 40 is the last one.
But he also, like, he's like really fucking skinny. Like, he's like what? He's 6'6", right? How tall is he?
I don't know.
Like, he's still super skinny for a guy that's his height. Like, even at his height, he would be probably like Jacob Fatu's build here. Like, he's, you know, not giga jacked, but he's pretty well built.
Yeah.
But he looks super fucking skinny in that. Maybe it's because we're so used to seeing him like in his typical roid form where he's super jacked. So maybe it's a little bit of, you know, our expectations for how he looks are so high that it's kind of weird seeing him like that. But I thought someone like AI enhanced him and merged him with like Giancarlo Esposito, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And I saw it was real, and I was like, oh, does he have like a disease or something? Like, what happened?
Yeah,
so, I don't know. Nobody knows why. No, I think you're right. I think he just stopped taking roids for some reason. Someone said he got sick with something, and he lost a lot of weight. So I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. To be honest, I thought that was fake too. I thought that photo was fake as first, but I guess it's not. And I guess the movie had some weight or some part in it, but dang, man. That's interesting right there. But yeah, anyway, Sami Zayn, Jacob Fatu win by pinfall, and the MFTs are gonna end up like the NWO circa 1999, where they keep adding new people until it implodes or something like that. I don't know. We're gonna move on from that to Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the Women's Championship. Yes, I am gonna book this match because
on SmackDown.
Jade Cargill is the number one contender, right? So you might as well give her a match against Tiffany Stratton. And I am going to have it result in a DQ because Nia Jax comes in to beat down both Jade and Tiffany, and that forces a triple threat match at WrestlePalooza between Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, and Nia Jax. God, I do not want that to happen, but I swear to God, if it does happen, oh boy, I am going to flip. But if it does come to a WrestlePalooza sort of one-on-one match, fine, I guess. But they'll probably bank on a Nia Jax running in and kind of, I don't know, destroying both of them, I guess. Get a little bit of an intervention there. And yeah, I don't think they should give it to Jade just yet. She's too early. I don't think they should give it to Nia Jax either, because she is mid. So just keep it on Tiffany. I am sure they'll find some other woman from NXT to take it away from Tiffany. But just beef up the women's mid card and find a worthy challenger, someone who can take the title off of Tiffany. Who that is? No idea. Maybe build up Natalya and make her kind of the number one contender next. But I don't think they'll do it. And honestly, kind of a shame, but whatever. Moving on to the main event, which is Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Yes, I've already said this last week, so I'm pitching it here once again. So, as I said last week, this happens because Randy Orton, RKO, Drew McIntyre, they had a bit of an altercation on a segment at the Go Home show for Clash in Paris. And you might as well book this match unless you're saving it for WrestlePalooza, in which case there should be another match between them to serve as the sort of tie maker. And then the WrestlePalooza match will be the tiebreaker, so to speak. So, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, this is the first match between each other, and I am going to have Drew McIntyre win because Cody Rhodes comes in. Yes, he comes back. And we are going to start having some sort of hints of a Randy Orton heel turn. Randy Orton argues with Cody because the distraction was a failure that resulted in Drew McIntyre winning. Cody wanted to help out Randy, but after the match they sort of argue, and Orton starts pushing Cody a little bit. McIntyre, we're going to have him laugh as he goes to the back of the ring. And Randy Orton, after, arguing some more with Cody, starts walking away enraged as the show goes off the air. And maybe this could lead to a triple threat match between Cody, Randy, and Drew at WrestlePalooza for the Undisputed WWE Championship. And I am going to have Cody retain, unfortunately. And Cody can have his feud with Randy. And Drew McIntyre can go, I don't know, do something else for a change. I don't know. Whatever that is. Maybe Drew versus Cena? That could be cool. But, yeah. That's about it. Any questions?
It's interesting that you decided to give the women's world title on an episode of Smackdown, but I'm not opposed to it. I just think it's interesting. I thought they would have done more with Punk because it is Chicago, but I guess you are right. It's it is Smackdown, so we need to have some semblance of a brand split.
Yeah, but knowing it's Road Dogg booking the show, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna have some raw shenanigans as well. Man, I think Road Dogg needs some booking lessons, but that's probably just me. But yeah, I know CM Punk and Chicago are like 1-1. They're kind of synonymous with that, and they want to milk a lot off of Punk as much as they can, but you got to realize that they have a roster, and you got to just, have people care about the rest of the roster and not just Punk. So that's what I'm thinking. Have some Punk on there, but not too much that it's sort of aggravating. Have the rest of it be filled with talent that the people care about, like Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, maybe Tiffany Stratton. Just have it be like a regular sort of SmackDown with some Punk in there because he's in Chicago. But yeah. Anything else before we move on to your card?
Nope. Ready for my card?
All right. Let's go to your card. Starting off with.
I have a CM Punk promo to open the show because it is Chicago. And this is basically a follow up from what happened on Raw. Why are a bunch of Raw superstars coming out to deal with their business on SmackDown? Because the current champion on SmackDown is shooting a movie, and the U.S. Women's Champion cannot speak English. So they don't have much else going on right now. The tag team division, maybe, but nobody cares about tag teams anymore. Basically, what happens here is he comes out, complains that Seth is getting his wife to do his dirty work for him. Becky comes out, and she is assaulted from behind by another ninja, who is AJ Lee. AJ Lee debuts on this episode because she's just AJ Lee, not like a super big, name. And this turns into a brawl. The Braun folk join in, followed by LA Knight and Jey Uso. And this becomes the main event because, God forbid, we have any sort of brand split.
This is it. Just SmackDown is an extension of Raw at this point. It's terrible, but thanks, Road Dogg.
I think this is the end of it. I think this is the end of it because I know Cody's going to come back soon, and you're going to have Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton ramping up their feud. So,
yeah, I suppose so. It's just annoying because you guys have your own roster, and you're wasting it on this. So, whatever. Moving on to
Charlotte Flair versus Alba Fire. This is because last week Alba Fire attacked Alexa Bliss at the end of the 1-versus-2 handicap match that they had, and then Flair ran in for the save afterwards. So I think this is just a follow up, and this feud continues to go in a holding pattern until we decide you want to give a championship fight to these women. So I think that Charlotte wins via DQ because Chelsea Green and Piper Niven come down and beat up on Charlotte Flair. It was then saved by Alexa Bliss because this is the same thing we do every week. And
Yay.
we have yet to resolve this feud. So, because we only have 3 women tag teams in the entire company, 2 of which are on SmackDown.
Yeah, we got the Judgment Day.
Actually 3 because you have the Kabuki Warriors technically, so you have 4.
And a Judgment Day. Don't forget the Judgment Day.
And the Judgment Day, yes. Yes.
Don't forget Finn Balor and his friends, JD McFish. And and Dom Mysterio and his 2, well, you know what you know what they are. But yeah, I don't know where they're going with this, honestly, and this is getting kind of tiring. So please stop, Road Dogg. Moving on to
Drew McIntyre promo calls out Randy Orton. Says he doesn't want to play any more games. He doesn't want to, get RKO'd out of nowhere anymore. He wants him to confront him like a man. Randy comes out, confronts him, and they book a cage match for WrestlePalooza. I was going back and forth as to whether or not this would be a street fight, but because both of these guys can go, I don't think a street fight would be necessary for them, and I think because it is a ESPN debut, I think they want to do something that's a little better than a street fight. That'd be a cage match. But they do love their street fights, so I think that might happen. Yeah.
I was gonna say do a last man standing match, but
they already have a couple of fights booked, so I don't know if they have the time.
Well, and I just realized that all of these no DQ matches are the goddamn same. So it's just like Last Man Standing or what is it, Extreme Rules or Street Fight or Donnybrook match. They're all the same. They're all the same. It's just no DQ. So yeah, whatever. So who do you think wins this one? Wins this feud, I should say.
Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre?
Yes.
All right. And you think Drew McIntyre is going to challenge Cody, right?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Moving on to
Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu versus Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. Thank you for blocking out Tama Tonga.
That's Tangaloa.
God damn it. I can't tell. I can't tell, man.
Hey, do you need me to run you a list of what the MFTs are?
I know Talatonga looks like X-Pac if he was stretched out in Microsoft Paint, okay?
Okay.
Jason Mateo, I
Sure.
know, I know who Solo Sikoa is. I have a hard time telling apart Tamatonga and Tongaloa because they both have the
They
same,
have the same
name, essentially,
jawline.
and the same jawline.
I'm just saying.
So okay, so that's Tongaloa. Okay, so basically this is a continuation of what happened last week, where Fatu and Uso saved Sammy from the MFTs. So the MFTs stand for My Family Tree.
Yeah.
So when Solo is saying my MFTs, he's saying my family tree.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make that right. So they helped Sammy win that title fight. So they book a tag team match tonight between these two. Tamatonga, not Tongaloa. Tamatonga and Solo come down to beat up on Fatu and Jimmy Uso, and then Sami Zayn comes in to help them with a steel chair. So
you think this is heading towards a rematch between Sammy and
Solo, yes.
Solo?
Possibly Jacob Fatu and maybe even Jimmy Uso get involved.
Okay. And you think Sammy goes over and kind of gets a...
Depending on how his reign goes, yes, I think so.
Okay. All right. So, who do you think is kind of after after this rematch with Solo? Do you think there'll be some sort of tension between Jimmy and Jacob, and as to who, wants Sammy's
Yes.
title?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move on from that to
A Tiffany Stratton promo. She confronts Jade. Jade continues to say that she will beat Tiffany easily, despite Tiffany reminding her that she beat her in 7 minutes at SummerSlam. This ends up in a match that gets booked for WrestlePalooza. I think this is a straight match and does not have a stipulation. And I think this eventually ends in probably a last woman standing match or some sort of stipulation at Survivor Series or Crown Jewel. Probably Crown Jewel, actually. So,
okay. All right, sure.
yes.
Okay. And you think Tiffany goes over, or do you think they're just gonna give it to Jade?
At WrestlePalooza?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tiffany goes over.
All right, cool. And who do you think is next? Do you think the dreaded
Jade
Nia Jax?
Jade Cargill. Yeah.
No, we're still gonna run with Jade. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right, moving on to
John Cena comes out. He talks about fighting Logan Paul. He then basically teases that Brock Lesnar is going to come out, but Brock never does. I don't think they're going to give Brock a lot of camera time in this feud other than his fight with John Cena. And Cena basically confirms that he will be fighting Brock at WrestlePalooza. Because of Brock's more controversial status, I don't think he gets a lot of mic time here. I think it's John carrying the feud for most of the time, and then Brock comes out maybe like one or two Smackdowns before and just kind of, does whatever.
Which begs the question, why bring Brock out in first place?
Shock value and ratings. I don't know why they care about ratings. I mean, they're on a streaming platform, for Christ's sake. So why do you...
Bro,
Why?
Bro, we got Netflix. Okay, we need to bring new people to Netflix. So, bro, let's bring back Brock Lesnar. The ratings, bro. Ratings.
Bro, we do a restraining order on a pole match, bro. It'll be great, bro. Here, bro, it'll be great.
Let's make a match. Let's make a John Cena Sr. on a forklift match at WrestlePalooza. Bro, the ratings, bro, is gonna be great. Great match. But, alright. Do you think Brock wins here, or do you think John Cena goes over like his other matches? Considering Brock's...
I think Cena wins, and then he gets a couple of wins before he loses his final match. Yeah.
Alright. Very cool. And last but not least, moving on to the main event, which is
CM Punk and Friends versus The Vision. I know this is a Raw main event, but again, I think that this is just because it's Chicago and CM Punk. I think this is probably the end of the pseudo non-brand split because Cody will be coming back and you have Randy and Drew getting going again. So I don't think you're going to see this on SmackDown again. But because we are in Chicago, I think this happens, and this ends up in Punk and Co. winning via pinfall, and The Vision winning away from the arena.
great. And now we can finally have actual main events on SmackDown featuring SmackDown people again. Right? Right, Road Dogg?
Yes, yes, hopefully.
Ah, man. Alright. Well, it's interesting, as I said before, how... Actually, not as you said before. I don't know why. But it's interesting you would bring out AJ Lee here. I was thinking they'll probably bring her back at WrestlePalooza in an in-ring capacity and just not have her be anywhere on the TV screen until, WrestlePalooza. But I think with everything being predictable, with people chanting AJ Lee, that they might as well capitalize on it. So I'm guessing that's what the thinking is here.
Yes. Did you see that a lot of people are complaining that ESPN is like reporting on wrestling as if it's a real sport now? Like they have it on SportsCenter.
Oh?
Yeah. I saw a couple of people get mad about that. And I was like, I get it, because you watch SportsCenter and you're like, I want to watch like real sports, and this shit's like fake.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing as like the Pat McAfee show, right? Like Pat McAfee talks about other stuff, but he also talks about I know, but he talks about wrestling, and I see this. There are some people that's like, oh my god, get to the real sports, get to like football and shit. I don't care about this.
I'm gonna go on a tangent for a minute here.
Okay.
I lost all my respect for Pat McAfee.
What happened? What happened?
This week, Pat McAfee had on Scott Hansen. Do you know who Scott Hansen is?
I don't think so.
So Scott Hansen is the guy who does Red Zone. And Red Zone, I don't know if you know what Red Zone is, but Red Zone was this thing that was originally made, I think, by DirecTV, where as part of a cable package, you would get literally like 10 hours of uninterrupted, no commercial football coverage of the entire slate of games for that day. So what he would do is he would sit there and go back and forth between different games the entire day for 10 hours.
Oh my god.
And the reason it was called Red Zone is because they would they would only focus in on games that were like in, the red zone, like the 20 yards. And for the longest time, it was ad-free. So every time it started, they were like, okay, here's another 11 hours of ad-free football in red zone. And it was really good. People paid for that shit because it was nice. And then this week, Scott Hansen, who, by the way, doesn't own red zones. He's just the announcer, so he doesn't have anything to do with this. He comes on and he says, yeah, they're going to have ads in red zone. And then Pat McAfee says, I don't think people will care about the ads. And I'm like, motherfucker, that was the whole point of watching Red Zone, was there were no ads.
He was on Red Zone saying this?
No, Scott Hansen was on the Pat McAfee show saying this.
Oh.
And then Pat McAfee said, I don't think people care too much about the ads.
I mean,
and then Scott Hansen said, yeah, we're going to change the opening, because usually every day he would say, okay, it's another 11 hours of uninterrupted ad-free football, to it's another 11 hours of red zone football. So get rid of the ad-free part in the in the opening line. And it's like, damn, Pat really just is bootlicking for ESPN.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, get your bag, but damn, man, that's crazy.
Also, he's been exposed to the apocalypse version of the WWE for some time, so I'd imagine he would be okay with an ad laden red zone. Just be like, yeah, I've seen logos in the ring, I've seen Slim Jim tables, it's fine, man, it's fine. People don't care about that. They care about the quality of the content. So, but yeah, no, I don't know where we were going with this.
We were talking about Pat McAfee, and we were talking about how people are complaining that ESPN is now showing wrestling when it's not.
Oh yeah, right.
I get it, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
So
I thought we were talking about this match and how but okay. That's fine. Whatever. Anyway, I think with that confusion, that's about it. And as I stated earlier, we're going to watch the next episode of Smackdown. And we are going to let you know our points, because we do score our predictions and bookings as we're watching it. And we're going to let you know our points on the next episode of this here show. But until then, thank you so much for ordering a blue cheese pizza called Probably Next Week on Smackdown from Grapperinos. And remember, if you're down for some fresh, oven-baked, crispy wrestling content, then stop on by Grapperinos and order yourself some content you can grapple with. See you next time, Grapperinos.